We don't always understand that we're, cursing our future because it's become so natural to us. You can either curse or bless the future. Watch what you say. I really like what you said about where we need to send. Anyway, I believe God was telling them, I am everything because I am. Okay, this is how I see it now. It's what comes after I am. Think you're letting into your life that's part of our message, which is God has a bigger plan for your life than you do. That's what I saw. 13 years ago, I never thought I'd be sitting here with you or in the building where I used to watch the Rockets play. He lived in a $10,500,000 0 cents home while taking out $4,400,000 0 cents in COVID loans meant for small businesses. His church only gives 1% of its money to charity. Even though he charges $15 0 cents to hear him talk, he preaches that God wants you to be rich. Millions of people watch his TV show, but he doesn't talk about sin or Jesus very often. We're just regular people. It's just talking about having a great life, making other people happy, and getting along with everybody. People said he was fake, so he spent $3 million 0 cents on another house. With fewer people coming to church and more criticism, Osteen's beautiful smile can't hide the cracks that are appearing. His birthday is March 5, 1963, and he was born in Houston, Texas. In a home with 6 kids, church, faith, and family were very important. By that time, his dad, John Osteen, had already left the Southern Baptist Church and started something new. When Joel's sister Lisa was born in 1958 with serious disabilities, things changed in a big way. Everything changed at that time. John and his wife Dodie became passionate Christians and turned to faith healing. In 1959, just 1 year later, they started Lakewood Church in an old feed shop. There were only 234 places, but something big was about to start. That small room had grown into a church with over 5,000 people by the late 1970s. Joel saw all of this as a child. Joel didn't say anything while his brothers preached or helped out. He did not desire attention. He liked working behind the scenes better. His last year of high school was 1981 at Humble High. After that, he went to Oral Roberts University to learn about TV and radio, but he quit in less than a year. He didn't want to go to college. He wished to set up something with his dad. Joel made a big choice when he was only 19. He quit college in 1982 and moved back to Houston to help with TV work at his church. In the same year, he began the TV ministry. At first, he only had one local station and one national cable network. Joel never took a picture in 17 years. He made the movies, edited them, directed them, and even kept track of the clothes his dad wore every Sunday. He made sure that every show looked great. He wanted Lakewood to look as well put together as a Hollywood movie. While other people preached, Joel kept pressing buttons, changing lights, and cutting video. He had never been trained to teach or studied theology in school, but he was taking it all in. Changing a lot of his dad's lectures taught him more than any school could. Even so, he still wouldn't go on stage. Joel always said no when his dad asked him to speak. "You're the preacher," he told him. "I'll make you look good on TV." In January 1999, everything changed. Joel finally said yes on the 17th. He gave his very first speech. His dad had a heart attack and died 6 days after that. His dad never heard another lecture after Joel's first one. Joel was put in charge of a church with 6,000 people without any preparation. It wasn't what he wanted. He wasn't ready. He had never preached before. A lot of people didn't believe him. Still, something made sense. Around 8,000 people came to Lakewood every week at that time. It's big for Houston, but not for the whole country. Everything changed in just 5 years. By 2004, between 25,000 and 30,000 people came every week, which was a huge increase. It wasn't just big, it was the United States' largest church. It wasn't a mistake either. Joel increased the budget for TV time by 2 times. He chose the best times in big places. He put up signs all along the highways. And I think what was most different about his lectures was how they felt. They were simple, happy, and full of hope. Lots of people watched and stayed. There were so many people that Lakewood's 8,000-seat building wasn't big enough. Joel started to say something that didn't make sense. He said that one day they would speak to 100,000 people every weekend. A lot of people laughed. Then the bravest move yet came. The city of Houston and Lakewood made a deal in 2003 for Lakewood to rent the Compaq Center. What used to be their home court was there. It wasn't a small church hall. It was a sports stadium with 16,000 seats. The lease was $12 million, 0 cents for 30 years, and an extra 30 years could be added for an extra $22 million, 0 cents. But what really shocked me was how much it cost to fix up. Lakewood promised almost $95 million, 0 cents to change the venue. That's about $158 million, 0 cents now. It took 15 months to put it back together. The arena was torn down and 5 floors were added on the inside. Falls, miles of new carpet, rooms that are 200,000 square feet, broadcast studios and classes. It had to feel brand new. It shocked everyone. A basketball arena that is being turned into a church. This was the first time it was done this way. Lakewood paid $7,500,000, 0 cents for the building all at once in 2010. When it really changed, though, it was on July 16, 2005. The big event was that, when the new Lakewood Church opened, every seat was taken. 16,000 people showed up in person. A lot more people watched TV. For many people in Houston, the place where they used to watch NBA stars play was now a church with lots of lights, music, and good vibes. And more people kept coming. Soon, more than 40,000 people showed up every week. About 10 million people in more than 100 countries watched the TV show. It was no longer just a church, it was a movement and a huge media company. And Joel Osteen was in the middle of it all. Joel was unique because of what he said. He didn't say anything about hell. He didn't talk about sin or punishment. He talked about hope, goals, having faith in yourself, and trusting God's plan instead. Some people said it was too Christian, but his fans didn't mind. They felt better when he smiled and stronger when he spoke. It wasn't broken, he told them. They believed him when he said that better times were coming. Joel knew right away how powerful the media could be. In just a few years, Lakewood's TV show was seen in 92% of American homes. That's almost every house in the country. Every week, about 10 million Americans watched. People from over 100 other countries also watched. By 2017, the church spent $25 million, 0 cents a year, on marketing, but it paid off. A Sirius XM radio station was set up in Lakewood. Joel began putting on Night of Hope shows in stadiums. The crowds were huge everywhere he went. It all worked because his message was easy, clear, and good. In October 2004, Joel Osteen put out Your Best Life Now. Most people didn't think it would do very well. He had never written a book before and was a preacher, not a famous person. But the book sold more than 500,000 copies in just 3 months. It had gone over 1 million by May 2005. That was impressive on its own. Then it stayed on the New York Times bestseller list for more than 200 weeks, which is almost 4 years. It sold more than 4 million copies around the world. It was no longer just a Christian book. It had become well known. Faith, drive, and simple hope made a connection with everyone, from people who go to church to people who have never opened a Bible. It was easy to read because Joel's voice was nice. It seemed like his ideas about how to live a better life were true. He was well known before that book. That was the last time religious authors could write and sell books the same way. Joel wrote more than one book, though. He changed his wealth into a full-fledged business. He wrote more than 15 books, and at least 7 of them were big hits in the New York Times. His book, Become a Better You, which came out in 2005, made him $13 million, 0 cents in advance payments and fees. Even more people went to his live shows. He could make between $100,000, 0 cents, and $200,000, 0 cents for each speech. It was packed with people all over the United States and even in other countries. He also made a big business out of selling gifts, clothes, books, and CDs. A lot of it was sold online or in Lakewood Church's huge gift shop. Then his social media company came along. 25 million people follow you on Facebook. There are 10 million Twitter users and 5 million Instagram users. These sites brought in even more money, sponsors, and press. Then, in 2013, Joel did a huge thing that no other preacher had ever done. He started a tour across the country called Night of Hope. These events were not free. A lot of people bought tickets which cost about $15, 0 cents each, and they came in huge numbers. Over 20,000 people crowded into Miami's American Airlines Arena on March 11, 2013, just to hear him talk. These events often sold out, in big places like London, New York, and Los Angeles. By 2019, he had sold out Wembley Arena. It wasn't just preaching, there was music, light, excitement, and hope in the air. In 2017, the church alone spent $6,700,000 on these events. It paid off big time, though. Night of Hope changed the way people thought about religious events. No longer were they small groups, they were made all over the world. It was all part of a bigger plan. Like most preachers, Joel didn't just watch religious shows. He went to the most important stages in popular media. He talked to Oprah, he went on Larry King Live, he was on GMA. People who had never watched Christian TV or been to church saw these shows. His message became well known after his 2005 talk with Larry King. He talked about all the criticism head-on when he talked to Oprah in 2012. This included the pushback against his prosperity gospel. He didn't talk about rules or sin, he talked about having hope, being successful, and having faith in yourself. His speech sounded less like a preacher and more like a motivating speaker. That was meant to be that way. This plan did work. Joel Osteen now talks to more than 10 million people a week on TV in more than 100 countries. The word he sends through his podcast, social media, and public appearances is the same. Remember to have faith, be happy, and never give up. People of all faiths, including those who were not religious, liked that message. He became one of the most searched for and watched preachers in the world because of it. There is more going on behind the scenes, though, with the numbers. Every year, the Osteen name brings in about $55 million, 0 cents. His church, Lakewood, has a yearly budget of $90 million, 0 cents. You might think that a big chunk of that would be used to help people, but only 1.3%, or about $1,200,000, 0 cents, a year, is used for missions and outreach. The money is mostly used for weekly meetings, making media, Night of Hope events, and running the organization. Some people think this shows that the attention is on building the brand rather than helping. Joel talks a lot about having plenty and having a mission, but some people wonder where all that extra money is going. He didn't meet his future wife at a fancy church event or a party for famous people. It was just that his watch battery was dead. He went into a gold store in Houston in 1985. It was run by a family in the area, and Victoria Olaf, a young worker there, helped him. The day in question, she worked at her mom's shop and studied psychology at the University of Houston. What started out as a simple task became something much bigger. On April 4, 1987, just 2 years after that, Joel and Victoria got married. Joel was still working behind the scenes at the church his dad ran at the time. He wasn't yet Lakewood's well-known face, but this marriage was the start of something very big. Victoria's past brought both faith and science into the story. Don Eloff, her dad, worked for NASA as an engineer on the Saturn rocket project. She taught Sunday school because her mother loved it so much. Joel and Victoria started a mission together that would eventually reach millions of people. They've been married for almost 40 years. They've had to deal with stress, criticism, and the huge responsibilities that come with running a megachurch. Everything changed that one small moment in a jewelry shop when the battery in my watch was changed. After that, Victoria's life changed in a big way. The year she was born was 1961 in Huntsville, Alabama. When she was 2 years old, her family moved to Houston. Her mother taught Sunday school at the Church of Christ, and her father was a deacon. The church shaped her youth. Victoria started doing small jobs at Lakewood after she married Joel, like helping with gifts. That didn't last long, though. From 2003 to 2004, she led the women's ministry at Lakewood. It quickly grew. Thousands of women get it every year now. Victoria's part on stage became just as important as Joel's. People were truly moved by her voice and presence. She also wrote books that sold a lot of copies. Love Your Life, her first book, came out in 2008 and was printed 750,000 times. It went straight to number 2 on the New York Times list of bestsellers. That was a big deal for someone who used to work in stores. Some people say that if you don't heal your mental wounds, you'll bleed on people who had nothing to do with it. From her quiet life behind a jewelry stand comes her story. To one of the most well-known female preachers in the United States is one of bravery, growth, and never-ending energy. She didn't just go in the same direction as Joel, she helped make it happen. Alex and Jonathan, their kids, grew up in the middle of that world. Jonathan came into the world on April 20, 1995. Alexandra came after on November 9, 1998. Both grew up in the huge spotlight of Lakewood Church, but neither stayed out of the press. Jonathan went to the University of Texas at Austin and finished in 2017 with degrees in radio, TV, and film. Not only that, but he was leading prayer when he was a teenager. In 2016, he and Alexandra were singing in front of 45,000 people at an event in San Francisco called America's Night of Hope. Jonathan began writing songs and making music for Lakewood's young adults ministry as well. Then, on Father's Day in 2019, he gave his first lecture. She made a name for herself in singing. She became the lead singer for Laya, Lakewood's praise band. A lot of people have heard their songs like I've Got a Fire on Spotify and other sites. This is my Bible. I am who it says I am. It says I have what it says. It says I can do it and I can. I will learn about God's Word today. I'm not afraid to say that my mind is awake and my heart is open. I'll never be the same again. Her singing became an important part of the music at church. Osteen had a lot to do with the Word of Faith and Prosperity gospel groups. If you really believe, say the right things, and trust in God's plan, you will get what you want, whether it's health, money, or happiness. He once said that God wants you to pay your bills, never be in debt, and be healthy all your days. His fans loved it. He was criticized and slammed. The size of his stage made it all the more intense. Every week, more than 40,000 people go to Lakewood Church, and millions more watch on TV. The man himself is worth $40 million, 0 cents to $60 million, 0 cents. Many people have asked, if this message is really about faith, then why does it seem to help one man so much? Some Christians told him that what he said changed the faith into something it was never meant to be. The story didn't teach people how to follow Jesus through hard times. Instead, it told them they could speak wealth into existence. You have a lot more in you than that little dog. This defense system is making you push people away and stay away from them because you think that's the best way to deal with it. They were blamed for being poor or sick because they didn't believe hard enough. It wasn't just about the money, though. He also didn't talk much about sin, hell, or turning away from sin. He told her straight out that he didn't want to think about those things. People could become better because of him. His lectures were like speeches meant to inspire people. Many people bought his books. Some scholars said this was not really Christianity because it did not have a cross. It seemed good, but it lacked the tough parts, like giving up sin or depending on grace. It was known as cotton candy gospel. It's sweet and easy, but it's not very deep. They were afraid that it would make people feel better without changing anything. Some people said it wasn't bringing people to Jesus at all, but the other way around. Well-known people pushed back. That's what Professor Michael Horton called it, folly.